What's up, Bugnuts and Jawas? Caleb Keller here, and I just wanted to quickly throw out an update regarding this YouTube video. We recorded, we edited this week's top 5 villains, and I uploaded it, and all of a sudden the video was completely gone, and you could only see pictures that we had thrown in there, but you could hear the audio. So, disclaimer, as you click on this video, there is no video content this week. You will be able to hear our voices, though, if you are comfortable with continuing to listen to us on YouTube this week. Just wanted to let you know about that. Really unfortunate, because we had a bunch of dark side things out here on the table. You got to see me attempt to be General Grievous, spinning the lightsaber like crazy, but with Kylo Ren's lightsaber, which turned out to be really funny. But regardless, you'll be able to hear it, so stay tuned. We should get it fixed by next week, but this week we are not gonna have a video aspect to our YouTube content. Issues just occurred, but hopefully you enjoy this week's episode. This week on Mando Talk, we continue our top 5 series. We kick this thing off with top 5 lightsabers, and last week we did top 5 heroes, and this week we join the dark side and we discuss and debate the top 5 villains. You do not want to miss this week's episode of Mando Talk. Let's get to it. What is up, Ugnaughts and Jawas out there? This is Mando Talk. I'm your host, Caleb Keller. Full panel again. We are continuing our top 5 series. Co-host Nolan Ferris is back in the saddle. Co-pilot, what's up?
Man, nothing much. Good to be here. I'm excited about this one because I feel like I have more of a connection to the dark side.
To the dark side.
To the dark side. So it's going to be fun.
Why don't you introduce us to the rest of the panel today?
All right, well, you guys know them. There's Brandon Anderson and Jacob Keller.
Back Here we are.
There they are.
Short and sweet.
We got some little trinkets, sort of some Star Wars memorabilia on the table. So, BA, go through all that.
Yeah, BA, because since you handpicked them all.
I just grabbed some off your shelf you have over here.
You're on the spot.
I will say Jacob was wearing this before we started rolling.
The Kylo Ren
and he
helmet.
was spot on with his impersonations.
Yeah.
A man of many talents.
Let's hear it.
You want to go ahead and
Jacob,
give us some of that?
Impersonations.
Well, you can't do it like that. You got to have the helmet on.
He
Have
can't.
the helmet
no,
on?
No. He's
I don't know that
forever.
you'd be able to hear me through that either.
Go for it.
Show me, grandfather. That was good. Okay.
That was good.
No. Let me finish. And I will finish what you started.
Everyone just clicked out of this episode.
Slow clap. Slow clap.
Jacob Keller, listen. I think he needs to be hired for some voice acting
That'd be
over there
fun.
in Lucasfilm.
I would have so much fun. I kind of do that internally in my head all day anyways. Like I make up stories
Fair point.
similar to Star Wars and
Yeah.
go with it. Honestly, yeah.
What if you get hired to do
Hey, what's your name?
what if you get hired to do voiceover work for your when y'all are doing the ideas for movie ideas or TV shows?
He's
About
Nat
your-
Geo Star
Yeah,
Wars.
it's about your Nat Geo Star Wars. You
Oh,
could be like the
yeah.
voiceover.
Commentating.
Oh, gosh.
What voice
I
would you
think-
choose?
I think
Watch as
the
the
narrator
Ewoks.
would need to be Luke Skywalker. I think that he would be the perfect one for
Mark Hamill?
the task like that.
Mark Hamill?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Why not?
Because I don't like his voice.
What? Mark
Okay.
Hamill does a lot of voice acting.
I know. I'm just saying that it
Then
should
maybe,
be like
yeah, what do you think?
Rose.
Get out of here. All right, BA, continue to explain our
It should be
trinkets here.
Chewbacca.
Oh, I mean, we just got we just got villains. That's what I picked.
Yeah, we got Darth Sidious, General Grievous,
Yep.
Darth Maul, Darth Vader,
and Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, he's
BA.
he's pretty much the villain of the prequels, in a lot of people's opinion.
He's
Black.
he's the best player for the other side.
Yeah, I think he takes out more of the soldiers than the droids do.
Oh, on Naboo.
Yeah.
I can see it, but not really.
No, I mean I just put it out as a joke, but
All good. All good. All right.
Whose side are you side?
Like we said at the top, we are doing top 5 villains today. Extremely excited to do this. Like Nolan said, I think he's more connected with the villains. I found myself, it was a lot easier to make this list for me than the heroes.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know why. That makes me nervous. It makes me feel like I'm forgetting about somebody, and y'all are going to roast me at some point. But I felt like this was extremely easy compared to the heroes. And me and Jacob were talking about this earlier. As far as, like, heroes versus villains, I feel like there's more good heroes to choose from
Yeah.
than there are, like, good villain characters to choose from.
Well, yeah. And I was wondering what you really meant by that.
So I've got a
Quality.
I've got a perspective. So really, the heroes versus villains is all perspective. So if you're from like an Empire supporter
Yeah.
or a Separatist supporter
Mm-hmm.
or the First Order supporter, then your heroes list is going to be really different.
what is he even talking
I
about?
don't know. He's
You know what I mean? So like, your
No,
Yes,
no, I know
we
what you
get
mean.
Kylo
If we
Ren
lived
could be
here.
your hero, and
Gotcha.
Luke Skywalker could be
a villain.
my enemy.
Fair point. If we lived there, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So do you mean that there's not many villains to choose from that are just like their sole ambition is just to do evil and be evil?
What I mean is I feel like with heroes, there's more kind of players in the pot that you
Okay,
could
yeah,
make
yeah.
an argument that they're equal to each other.
Yeah.
Versus villains, I feel like there's less amount, and therefore more of them might stand out than the others.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So let's get into it. We are doing top 5 villains this week. Again, we're going to run through the list of rules here that we go by. We kind of stick to them, but really this is all about us having fun. You as the audience getting to know our preferences in Star Wars a little bit more. Each person has prepared their top 5 list of villains in all of Star Wars. And when we say all of Star Wars, we mean movies and television. And like BA introduced to the table last week, also video games. We will read off our top 5 starting at number 5 and work our way down to number 1. Following reading a selection, we get to justify why we made that selection. People get to chime in, bash you if they want to, like it tends to happen sometimes.
Oh yeah.
If someone reads off their selection that everyone on the panel has, that's probably going to be an automatic selection. Again, last week we introduced a point system, and the point system with our automatics and our bubbles and all those things kind of lined up perfectly. Hopefully that remains the case through this week as well.
Yeah, and so how the point system works is a number 1 ranked villain will get 5 points. A
Yep.
number 2 ranked villain will get 4 points, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. And so adding those numbers up is really beneficial. And again, I think that lines up perfectly with our initial rules. So I think we are ready to go. Again, our main goal, we're all 4 going to share our top 5, but our main goal is at the end of this episode to come up with our show's top 5.
Mando Talks top 5.
And this week,
villains.
I believe Jacob Keller goes first.
Yes.
All right. Yes, sir.
Jacob, you're
Jacob.
number
So-
5.
My list isn't really based off of. I don't know. I kind of chose characters based on the complexity of their villainy, right?
Yeah.
So whereas Sidious is a simple villain, where his sole ambition is just to be evil and do evil, my list is kind of based off of the complexity of the story and their reasoning why the characters' reasoning for why they're evil and how impactful that story might be
For the viewer or for
Right.
the people there?
for the viewer.
For us?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. I might have some choices. I might have some people in places that y'all
Blow
might
us
think
away.
are kind of crazy.
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
so my number 5 is Grand Moff Tarkin.
Okay.
All right.
And I chose
I
him
like it.
because I remember watching A New Hope and, seeing Grand Moff Tarkin give the order to blow up Alderaan, even though he didn't need to.
Yeah.
And that's like, whoa, what, dude? He's going to murder an entire planet of innocent people
Yeah,
just to prove a point?
Spot on.
Whoa, man.
Holy moly.
And that's just like, this dude is like a cold, officer of the Empire, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to secure the Empire's vision
Yeah.
of peace, right? So that's his ambition, is to secure the peace of the Empire and do it by force, because that's the entire philosophy of the Galactic Empire, right?
Agreed.
Securing peace by using force with the Death Star, for example. That's like the ultimate manifestation of that philosophy. And yeah, he's committed to that. He sticks to that until he dies
Yeah, it's
on
like his
the Death
baby.
Star, like his brainchild, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I like the pick. And
That's,
let's be real, too. He fits the part.
Oh yeah.
I mean, every time now that Star Wars puts out a new movie or TV show and it's an Imperial or First Order officer, always they're going to be immediately compared to Tarkin.
Right.
Because he
Mhm.
set the standard for
Right.
what that could be.
I mean, he's commanding, he's, calculating, cunning,
Yeah.
willing to do whatever it takes
Absolutely.
to secure, his idea of what peace needs to be.
Right. Nolan, do you have something to say from that?
No. Your list is going to be different than mine.
Yeah.
Um, based on what you shared with us already, it's going to be different than mine. But I love that pick. I love the reasoning behind that pick, and yeah, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Who's next, Nolan? Who's next in your
It's gonna
lineup?
go counterclockwise.
Okay,
from now,
so BA.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
So unlike Jacob, my list. Well, before I say that, you mentioned that when we did heroes last week, there was like a bigger pool of heroes that we could choose from. So that
Yeah.
made it difficult in that aspect. With the villains, with there being a considerably less amount of those to choose from, I base mine more off of like physical presence and like their appearance and their power.
Okay.
Once
Okay.
it gets up to the top, it gets hard to distinguish between their presence alone. So I went with power.
Right.
But rounding out 5 on my list is based on appearance, and that it's General Grievous for me.
Okay.
Just
okay.
when he came onto the scene with 4 lightsabers and was labeled this like Jedi hunter, it was just cool to me, and I'm like, that's a bad dude,
Yeah.
But I mean, the movies didn't do him a lot of justice. He didn't get a whole lot of screen time and a lot of what I would like
True.
to see him do. But for me, that's
Yeah,
that's my
and to
five.
get that fix, I would check out Clone Wars
Clone
for
Wars.
sure because
Yes.
they did dive into Grievous a lot more, and that show made me not think that Grievous was much of a joke as he was. Like, not that
Oh,
the
yeah,
character's
for
a joke,
sure.
but I felt like in Revenge of the Sith they kind of made that character as like a joking device.
Mhm.
Not that I think he is, but I feel like Clone
Well,
Wars.
he had like pneumonia the whole show.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But I feel like Clone Wars fleshed that out a little bit more, and we got to see some more of that villainous Grievous.
I do want to say that Grievous was like my honorable mention, I guess.
Okay.
I would
And
go ahead and say the same, honestly.
if-
He didn't make my cut, but I debated it.
If his backstory from Legends or the old canon were still canon, oh
Yeah.
my goodness, I would definitely have put him on my list because that backstory is like, it gets to you
Yeah.
if you look into it. Do you know what I'm talking about, BA? Or have you looked into
I haven't
that?
looked into a lot of the old
Okay,
canon.
okay. But
Listening, if you haven't checked out Grievous's, I guess now uncanon background,
yeah.
check that out. It's a very good.
It's
interesting
like
read.
he has a personal vendetta against the Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, oh, I hate them because they're stronger than me and they have a power that I can't have. No, it's like he has something personal that they did to him and someone that he loves.
Yep.
I'll have to check that out then.
Yeah.
I didn't know that existed.
All right. I guess we're ready for me.
Let's hit it.
Yep.
My number 5. Now, I will say this. Mine, with my list, it was kind of like a mixture of both Jacob's and BA's. So my number 5 is the Grand Moff Tarkin.
Huh,
Now,
really?
I'll say I think everything that Jacob hit on, I agreed with. I think there's one thing that he left out that I really wanted to point out. He is the one and only Imperial officer that Vader actually respects.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Every
yes.
other Imperial officer, Vader pushes around.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't care
Yeah.
about.
For shakes.
And then other than that, I pointed out that Tarkin's depiction in Rogue One, even though it wasn't actual physical but computer generated, I loved his performance in that. The way that he bosses Krennic around, loved that dynamic
Yeah.
as well. So, based off of what Jacob said and those two things, Grand Moff Tarkin was my number 5.
Yeah, man. Can I also throw in that Grand Moff Tarkin is probably the only Imperial officer that knew about Darth Vader's previous life.
Yeah, good point.
And, like, yeah.
Yeah, that adds depth to that character for sure. All right, Nolan Ferris, round us out with our 5s.
Okay. So
First, start off. What's your list?
Man,
based on?
he's
that's what I'm going to start out.
okay.
Okay.
He's getting ready.
So, listening to all you guys talk about how you formed your list is interesting in the way we see villains. Villains to me, and the way I formed my list, is based on. First off, it's kind of a mixture between everybody's. Their backgrounds, what they've went through to be the way they are. Also, their power, how powerful they are as a villain. Because, there are several different types of villains. We have, like, less of villains, like, say, a Jabba the Hutt, as far as power.
Yeah.
They're just like a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Sith Lords. So,
Right.
it's hard to distinguish between the two of those as far as the qualities that you're developing your list off of. So for mine, it's sort of a mixture between all of it, and it's just strictly the ones that I think are cooler.
Okay.
Because if I was doing them by power, they would be in a different order. And if I was doing them by
Oh, yeah.
how cool they look, it'd be in a different order. And
Yeah.
so I just come from general who I think is cooler. Like,
Overall.
as far
Oh, yeah.
overall, because it's all subjective. I mean, we all got
Right.
really good reasons for why we picked who we did. So my number 5, and this will leave us with 2 different number 5s, is General Grievous.
Nice.
Because
Okay.
and if I wouldn't have watched the Clone Wars, wouldn't have been in the top 5. Would have been honorable mention, but wouldn't have been in the top 5 because
Fair point.
you do add depth to that character
Mhm.
through the Clone Wars, and and in the Clone Wars, you always see him running.
Oh, yeah.
He always runs
Yeah.
away.
He does.
And so, when you think of villain, I think of, opportunistic. So he attacks when it's
Most
in his
beneficial.
favor,
Mhm.
and he runs away if it's not. So that's that added to that. And then, just the he was trained in Jedi arts by Count Dooku.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. And, he wields 4 lightsabers
I was about to say
That
that's where I
he's-
draw the line.
that
just
he's
pretty cool.
collected from the Jedi he's killed. So
Yeah.
he made the top 5 in the number 5 spot,
Nice.
General Grievous.
Very nice.
Right
I
on.
like that.
General
We
Kenobi!
split right down the middle on our selection so far, so that this is brewing to be a very interesting.
I'm just glad that you and Nolan didn't match like the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You guys seem that back end of y'all's list seems to be the same.
This is gonna be different.
Yeah, I think so. All right, Jacob, number 4.
My number 4 is Boba Fett.
Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Can I speak for everyone and say he did not make my list?
He didn't make
Yeah?
mine.
Okay.
He didn't
I-
make mine.
All right, I didn't think so. All right, Jacob, you got the
Now-
floor.
He is the
check
original.
Check back with me in February after Mandalorian season 2
Yeah.
ends,
True.
and it
Yeah.
might be different.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll see.
Could be.
He's the original, like, mysterious villain.
He's
like,
a cowboy.
right? Yeah. He's a cowboy. I mean, he hunts down people, anyone.
Anyone.
I mean, Vader paid him to hunt down Luke,
Bro,
find
when
out
you
his
have-
name.
When you have Darth Vader hiring you
Oh, yeah.
to go hard,
True.
You're bad, dude.
You're bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got him on your
That's what I'm
shirt,
saying.
Nolan. Yeah.
you a bad dude.
Yeah, man. So, and also his backstory.
Yeah,
Like, his father, I mean, I'm sure, like, he was just trying to make a living for himself and his son, right? Provide some protection for themselves on Camino. And then all of this happens. All of this goes down with the Jedi suddenly coming into his life, and a Jedi cuts his dad's head off. I mean, like, he has a personal vendetta. Again, you know, like, that happens pretty frequently in Star Wars, I guess.
Yeah.
Personal vendetta against the Jedi. And so he has reasons to hate the agents of the light side, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, like, he goes with that from there. And you see a lot more of him in the Clone Wars, and you see a lot
True.
more of what he does and things that explain his path later on in life.
Mhm.
And that's all really cool.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I respect the pick.
That's a good pick, and that's an interesting, I guess, analysis of that character.
Yeah.
He did not make mine. I will say that he was in my honorable mention list, though.
Yeah? All
Yeah.
right.
Same
Let
here,
me-
honorable mention for me.
Let me say this, though, because I know we've all kind of shared different reasons for creating our lists and things, and I know appearance might be part of it a little bit. I'll say this. Boba Fett, you've got to give his just looks a lot of credit, because if it
Yeah.
wasn't for Boba Fett and it wasn't his popularity, first of all, you probably would have never gotten Mandalorian background, and you wouldn't have gotten a Mandalorian show. So a
That's
lot of
true.
that's got to go back to Boba Fett and the way that he portrayed.
And if you didn't
and
have,
Right
helped.
on.
So I guess we can conclude that Boba Fett is the reason that there is a Mando Talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You can backtrack all the way to Empire Strikes Back.
It's the
and
butterfly
Boba Fett.
effect.
I like that pick. BA, continue our number fours.
So this one may be coming early for me, and you guys feel free to tear into me if you want to, because you're going to do it anyways. But
Okay.
again, like I said, mine was based on, visual, screen presence, how they looked, a little bit of coolness, like Nolan said.
Yeah.
But my number 4 is Darth Maul. And when he showed up
Okay.
in The Phantom Menace, great scene. He wasn't in there long, but again, he gets picked up again in Solo. Still haven't seen it. Stand by for that one. It's getting closer every day.
Yeah.
And then in the Clone Wars again, so we get to see his character fleshed out more.
Yeah.
But just the scene in Phantom Menace when he holds his lightsaber and one side comes out, and then you're just sitting there and he's taking on 2 Jedi. You're like, oh boy! And then the second side comes
You're
out.
like,
Yeah, that's where he came 4 on my list. So
Next time we're in a Star Wars movie theater screening, I better see that reaction at least once. Nolan.
Well, we'll have to wait for, 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah.
I like Darth Maul. I mean, I think you're gonna hear more about him.
I was about to say he came a little early on my list, but that's because the top half's a little heavy for
To be
mine.
continued.
Yeah, to be continued. All right, my number 4. This really hurts me. We're talking about villains. We're not talking about characters. So my number 4 is Kylo Ren.
Okay.
It really hurt me to put him at number 4. If we were talking about overall characters, he'd be way up for me. But
Yeah.
as far as villainous, I just couldn't put him over the remaining 3 that I have. The internal pain that he deals with is raw, dark, and emotional. For me, and I'm not really like that as a person, but for me, that really connects with me. And the way that he struggles with Han Solo the most, his dad. I don't know about y'all, but growing up, like, the thing that I never wanted to do was disappoint my dad.
Yeah.
And I know if I did, I would feel horrible. So I kind of relate to him in that aspect. His desire to become the next Vader drives all of his decisions throughout the sequel trilogy. I thought that was super cool. And killing Snoke, I think that's the one thing about Kylo Ren that separates him from every other villain
Oh, yeah.
in the Skywalker saga. And I'm not comparing Vader versus Kylo Ren whatsoever.
Sounds
I
like
think
it.
Vader is by far the more powerful Sith dark side user. But that is the one thing that Darth Vader couldn't do. He couldn't, on his own, without being persuaded by someone else, get the job done, but still want to be the bad guy. Because Kylo Ren killed Snoke to still be the bad guy. Vader killed
kill the
Palpatine
master.
to just end it all and go back to the good. So those two, that thing between those two is what sets those apart. And that's why Kylo Ren's my number 4.
Right on.
Yes, sir.
I think you'll hear more
I
about
don't
him.
like Kylo Ren being at number 4, but he is my number 4. Nolan Ferris.
Okay. So, BA, you were talking earlier about how mine and Keller's list weren't exactly the same this time. Kylo Ren, number 4, bringing it in. Why?
Very nice.
Why, though?
Tell us why.
You guys want to know why?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
This is why. So, first of all, just take a look at a gander right here at that.
For those of you on YouTube,
Yep.
Yeah, you got to be on YouTube to see this, so come check it out.
describe it to our podcast.
Can we
listeners.
pause there for a second?
Yeah.
This top 5 series is a hoot to watch on YouTube because we're just cutting up. We're pulling out a bunch of toys. So you should be watching this on YouTube if you haven't done so already. All right, continue.
So, Kylo Ren, probably one of the, if not the coolest of the villains. Coolest looking of the villains. Because, I mean, you've got this throwback mask that reminds me of Solo when they're in the trenches fighting. You see the helmets.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of reminds me of that. It's kind of a throwback to pre-Empire.
Well, during Empire a little bit.
During
In
Empire.
Solo, yeah.
So that's what it kind of reminds me of. And then, at the end when he welds it all back together after he smashes it,
Yeah.
then you got the red weld lines in it.
Supreme
That
Leader.
looks cool. Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. But yes, also not only is he to me the coolest looking villain, he goes through a lot.
Yeah, he does.
He has a lot of internal struggle, and that adds depth to that character. But to me, like you said, it doesn't earn him a spot above 4 for me.
And it was tough for me. And
because I know he's one of your favorite characters.
yeah, no doubt. And I think that the sequel trilogy, again, I know it's got its flaws. Kylo Ren and Ben Solo shines. And he's probably, and I'm biased because I'm a Star Wars nerd and Star Wars rules over everything. He's probably the most relatable villain for me of all time in anything, but I'm probably way too biased to say that. But anyway, yeah, Kylo Ren, it's, again, overall amazing character, but villain, I think there's people out there that deserve higher, and I think we're going to get to that.
A little more villainous villains.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, coolest looking villain of them all.
Right
That's
on.
why he's not at number 5.
Wasn't your list coolest though? Wouldn't he be one then?
Coolest looking. I told you, I said it was like going to be a general of all of them.
Okay, I must
A
have
general-
misunderstood you.
Assessment of all
No,
of
that's
them.
your list, BA.
Well, pretty much.
All right,
Kylo
Jacob.
Ren, number 5.
Jacob, let's
4.
Jacob, let's
take
get
us
into
to
the
number
top
3.
3.
Number 3 is Kylo Ren.
Oh, let's go.
And, like, y'all have basically covered it. I don't think I need to talk about it anymore.
I think people listening are probably like, okay, y'all are way too invested into Kylo Ren. So let's go ahead and move on, though. But
Show me, grandfather.
that's impressive. Okay, we can listen to that all night. BA, take us.
But we're not going to.
BA, take us
Well,
into your number 3.
I'll keep it short. Shocker. Kylo Ren is my 3.
Let's go.
And quickly, the reason was because like his lightsaber's pretty cool. It didn't
His
look.
lightsaber's pretty cool.
Well, no,
it is.
It doesn't look very.
That's pretty neat.
It doesn't look very practical, but on screen, like it's like the bleeding crystal or
Yeah.
whatever. I think
Yeah.
you guys know more about it than me.
Yeah.
But that's
Kyber
just
crystals.
that's just cool. It adds a depth to his
Oh
character.
man, this fills my heart with joy that we just got a bunch of Kylo Ren. Okay.
I don't know if it'll put him up there at number 1, though.
Oh no, it won't. It won't, because I think people that are left are pretty obvious picks for me.
Oh, do you?
My number 3 is Darth Maul.
This is going to come down to the points.
Darth Maul is my number 3, and let me hit the reasons that I put. The first Sith visually used in Palpatine's grand plan.
Oh, yeah.
His abilities while fighting. I think B.A. touched on that. When you see him fight in The Phantom Menace, you're impressed immediately. He's a crime syndicate leader. He was Crimson Dawn creator. And if you watch the Clone Wars, I think Clone Wars is what makes Darth Maul shoot up in this list for me. And then also for Darth Maul, I would say character growth. So let me go ahead and get into that. Follows Palpatine originally, so he's all about following Palpatine's plan, becoming full-on Sith. He's killed, quote-unquote, by Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he survives that death. And his mission after surviving is to kill Kenobi, kill Palpatine. But eventually, toward the end of his life, he finally realizes that the true enemy from the very beginning was always Palpatine, and even makes peace with Kenobi before he eventually dies. So, Darth Maul, number 3. It was very tempting for me to bump him up even more, but I feel very comfortable with putting him right there in the middle of that list. Nolan Ferris, number 3.
You guys ready for this one?
Yes, I am.
You're not going to believe it.
All right.
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Interesting.
Darth Vader.
Okay.
At 3?
I know. Here's why. He struggles the whole time. He is powerful and everything, but he struggles the whole time. He is a villain.
Well, but you don't see it until Return of the Jedi.
But you know about it.
Yeah.
Originally, you wouldn't have, though.
He has an internal struggle with himself the whole time, and he wants to switch back
Yeah, I don't...
a lot. Like, every time he's around or he senses his kids, he wants to either destroy them or, like he did in the Jedi Temple, or change.
Was that blatantly obvious, though, in the original trilogy?
No. I think that's what Jacob was trying to say.
Okay.
So I think... I agree
Yeah.
that he's back and forward, but when you just look at the original trilogy alone, Darth Vader as himself, I don't think you really see his conflict within him until Return of the Jedi. But now that we have extra source material and we know about the prequels and we know all these comics about his internal struggle with Padme, it's definitely there.
So you can't look at just 3 movies.
You can't just look at the original. So I agree with that.
So that to me, and then the reason he's at number 3 and not lower is because I think it's very interesting that his image is still being used as a villain in the sequels. How, you know, because he has went back to the light, to the, you know, the Jedi way.
But he still feels this guy.
But yes, he fuels Kylo Ren and his rage because Kylo has been told lies by Snoke, assumingly, which is controlled by Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and he has a legacy left in the whole galaxy.
Yeah. He is throughout every movie. He has a part throughout every movie.
Yeah,
and it was cool to see him in the last episode of Clone Wars.
Very cool.
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome. That was very cool. So, I know he's my favorite character. Anakin's my favorite character, but he's still at number 3.
He was low on both your lists, right? For heroes and villains, Anakin and Vader.
He was.
They were 3 on both, wasn't they?
I believe he was. Although I'm gonna be with Nolan on this. Separating character versus hero or
Anakin
villain
was number 5.
It's easier said than done.
Yeah, whenever you break apart like the villain or hero in them, I think that's a completely different thing versus character.
Yeah. Now, if we do top 5 characters,
oh yeah,
because he has the best arc to me in the whole Star Wars universe. To me,
right.
His arc is the most in depth.
Oh, yeah.
And
agreed.
Entertaining than all of them. So, Vader at number 3 for villains because he lacks in his commitment to his cause.
Okay.
For me.
All right. Jacob. Sorry.
Oh.
You good?
Because really, he's just angry.
Vader,
He is.
Vader
He's-
just lost that
he's
je ne
like-
sais quoi.
I don't really care about the Empire, but they're keeping me alive right now, and I don't have any other option. And then when Luke gives him the other option, he takes it. So
True. Jacob, let's get into our top twos here.
My number 2 is Darth Maul.
Okay, nice.
And, I think you talked about reasons why. Oh, I also want to say that as an apprentice to a Sith Lord, he has the hope that one day he would be powerful enough in the dark side to overcome his master and become the master in the dark side himself. Well, we see that he was actually used before he was even chosen as Sidious's apprentice. Probably Sidious knew he was going to use him to fulfill this role and that he wasn't going to be his true apprentice, right?
Yeah.
He was just going to discard him to really set the plan off. Well, after Maul falls down that tunnel and we find him again, he lives with that for the rest of his life and trying to redeem what he sees his rightful place is, and that's to be the master of the dark side.
Yeah.
And of course, we never see that, but that ambition is why I chose him as my number 2, is because that drive, kept him alive, basically, after he got cut in half. That ambition to become Lord of the Dark Side again, because he thought that's where he wanted to be. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty evil.
Yeah, and something that I forgot to mention as we were discussing Maul earlier, I think it's really impressive that all this time during the transition from the Republic to the Galactic Empire, you got your main player, Palpatine and Vader. All this time, Maul's in the background stirring stuff up.
Yeah.
You just never know it.
Yeah.
And I think it's really impressive that he was able to pull that off.
Oh, yeah, and escape Sidious's,
Right.
yeah, his attention and his attacks and all that.
He's almost
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Sith version of Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Almost.
No, actually, I would I really kind of feel like that's true. Maybe they did that on purpose.
They probably did to show the connection between
Yeah.
those two. We're discovering stuff here on Mando Talk.
Groundbreaking, guys. Groundbreaking.
All right, BA, let's keep going with our number 2s. What's your number
So
2?
the separation between my 1 and 2 is just non-existent. It's so close. So my number 2 is Emperor Palpatine.
Okay.
And I mean, a lot of you could probably guess who 1 is, but we'll get in that a little later.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have no clue.
Okay.
Could be a video
he's,
game
He's in a
character.
lot of movies. He's a bad dude. He takes out a couple of Jedis when Mace Windu and them come to his chamber easily. I know it's a lot of people say it's a goof in Revenge of the Sith of him taking out 2 bodyguards when he does the barrel roll.
Yeah.
And
He
then
beat Yoda.
right. And then fast forward all the way to Rise of Skywalker. In his clone state, he's able to rain lightning from space and take out all these ships.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just a bad dude to me. So, and plus he's a puppet master throughout. You see
Oh,
him
yeah.
have his hands in basically every villain's sort of story.
Very
so.
true.
Right.
Very true.
I mean, if anyone's a true hardcore nothing but villain, that's him.
Mhm.
Nothing but evil, and that's his only ambition. His only drive is to just be evil. That's Darth Sidious,
Mhm.
100%.
I think you're going to hear more about Palpatine here soon.
I figured a lot of you will probably have him in 1 or 2. So
Yeah, no doubt. Nah, let's get to it.
Yeah.
My number 2, Darth Vader. I put that he was the most feared Sith in the galaxy's history, and I thought it was extremely villainous that he is the solo dude who hunted down and wiped out any remaining Jedi following Order 66. Obviously, he had some help from Inquisitors, but he was the head honcho in that. And then, honestly, something else that immediately that I think of now with Vader is the scene in Rogue One. in that hallway.
Oh yeah, his raw
Yeah.
power and anger.
Incredible. And I think we've touched on this, but knowing that inside that suit was Anakin Skywalker was always something that was extremely heavy, as you see every single scene that Vader is in. And I loved like the details with Padme and the fact that all this entire story is really about Vader going back to the light, which we're getting away from being villainous here, but still, kind of similar to Kylo Ren as in the fact that I can relate to the guy, even though he's a villain. There's things behind that villainous look that you can relate to. So
Well, that's what makes
Darth
a
Vader
villain.
came into my number 2.
That's what makes a villain good.
Yeah,
Is you can understand why he's doing what he's doing,
yeah,
and that's crazy to think about. But like, yeah, I understand why he did that. Yeah,
I agree.
and you relate to it.
Yep,
Makes you feel dark and grimy.
and awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Nolan, number 2.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Had to check his notes.
Just make sure I got this right. Darth Maul. Darth
Right
Maul.
on.
Because
We finally got one that's the same.
yes, because I feel like Darth Maul is the smartest villain in all of Star Wars history. Not at first, not in
Elaborate,
episode 1.
please.
Not in episode 1, but he's the one that figured out the plan with Order
Yeah.
66. He's
Yeah.
the one that figured out the master plan that Palpatine had. Now, not taken away from Palpatine, but he's the plan creator. But to figure it out, to decipher the actual plan, and then to, like you said, remain in the shadows.
Yeah.
To play the cards that he played to draw Ahsoka in, and he lost his brother, he lost his title, everything.
Yeah.
He was down to nothing, half a body, and then they, got him some legs and everything. I mean, he went through a whole lot.
He
so
did.
his character development, and you don't see this in the movies. So if you're wondering what the crap I'm talking about, go
Yeah.
back and watch the Clone Wars because
And
his
Rebels.
Rebels, because his character, that's where it unfolds for me.
Yeah.
And so that's why he's number 2, because to me he is one of the most wittiest, cunning villains, other than my number 1,
Yeah.
but of them all, because he figured out the master plan before anybody did. He knew that the clones were tools
Yeah.
before anybody did. And so that to me was impressive enough. And
Yeah, for sure.
another thing, like it was spoken earlier, he was, I think it was you where you had him, what am I trying to say here? After he was disbanded, after he was killed the first time, and he figured out that he was used as a tool,
Yeah.
then he wanted to not only kill Jedi, he wanted to kill both sides.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He was out to get his.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so for me, villains are also very, very selfish.
Yeah.
And that was pretty selfish.
No
which
doubt.
is also relatable though, because he had everything taken from him by both sides.
Yeah.
So he was ready to get his.
All right. I like all of our 5 through 2 selections, and we are now ready for the moneymaker.
I can tell you this: the points are going to be
Really close.
really close.
Yes,
I
they
believe
are.
they
Oh, yeah.
are.
Yes, they are.
Just by looking at what we've got here,
No doubt. There's a lot of similarities. Jacob,
lots.
number 1.
My number 1 is Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
And gee, I could be here a long time explaining why. First, there's just like he was the original villain in general.
Yeah.
Like in A New Hope, he was the first bad guy that
True.
you see.
He is.
He walks through that door on the Carillion cruiser,
Yeah.
And you see them stormtroopers all come to attention, and he walks through the smoke, and you're just like, who the heck is this dude? He's wearing all black. He's got this mechanical breathing going on.
Yep.
Then you find out who he is and what he is and why he is the way he is. And, man, like that backstory. So Anakin was my number one hero, and I think that Darth Vader is my number one villain on kind of like the reverse, like turn that around for the same reasons, right?
Yeah.
So Darth Vader as a villain, he gets his power primarily from hating himself at the root, which bleeds out into hating everything, right? Hating the Jedi, hating even Darth Sidious, his master, and we can see that because, that's the way the Sith work, is that hatred, and that's the only way that they inherit that dark side power. He hates the Jedi, he hates Darth Sidious, he hates.
Yeah, he
right?
does.
And, it's really, you said something about Darth Maul being selfish. Well, yeah, I mean, it's really selfish to hate yourself and then lash out at other people because you have that, right? And, he did some he did some nasty things.
He did.
You know?
He did.
And he did, he hunted down all of the Jedi that were left in the galaxy,
Yeah.
and he left a legacy in the galaxy of fear, and, Darth Vader, he's
Darth
my number
Vader's
one for all
Jacob's
of that.
Number one. All right, BA.
So before I get to my number one, I'd like to pose a question to Jacob. If I'm seeing it right, Darth Sidious didn't make your list?
Nope.
Do you have a main reason, or is it just...
Just because, Darth Sidious to me is just like a simple villain where,
Okay.
Like I've said before here, is he's just a villain because he wants to be a villain, right? And we don't see any backstory for why. We just see that that's his goal, and his ambition is just to be purely evil.
That's a fair point.
And I base my list off of, why are they villains, and why did they choose to go evil? And, if that story is, like, really relatable and really compelling.
Mm-hmm.
And also, that's the way I would put it.
So, what if they come out with a Palpatine prequel show showing his growth? And what if he started out as a good guy and he just turns twisted?
He was a senator.
Would you ever allow Palpatine to slip in there in front of any of those?
I'll seriously think about it.
Okay.
I mean, he was a senator.
Yeah, but
you don't see his turn to the dark side, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
And in my assumption,
He was already in the dark
he's
side.
already dark side well before we were introduced to him. So, I don't know. I can see your point. Let's talk about it here in a second. BA, go ahead and go for number one.
Okay, so I know you all have probably guessed it. My number one is Captain Phasma. No.
Hot take.
I'm kidding. It's Darth Vader. And I know Jacob hit on a lot of the main points, from movies and TV shows that I wanted to hit on. But going farther than that, again, physical presence, cult classic. If you say Star Wars to anyone, they know
who that is.
They know who Darth Vader is.
Yep.
And I will say, growing up, that was the only Star Wars character I dressed up for Halloween. I forget when it was. It was years ago. I had the mask that changed your voice and everything.
Nice.
And then, and I know you two will relate to this because you played the game a lot. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yes.
Mos Eisley, where you could be the heroes and villains.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I wasn't the heroes, I was the villains, and I was clicking on Darth Vader so fast.
Yeah. Very true.
So for me, I mean, he's got to be the top villain.
Okay. Fair point, and nothing but respect for that. I'm going to go ahead and say mine. My number one is Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious. I feel like...
Call him by his real name.
Darth Sidious. I feel like he has to be mine just because he was the man behind literally everything from start to finish. He's the one that manipulates Darth Vader into becoming the Darth Vader that we end up seeing. He controls everything in the sequels, whether you love it or not. It's canon. I wasn't one that was excited when Palpatine came back, but when he did, that solidified for me him being number one, because that just means that he's always there lurking in the shadows. And I feel like if they ever do tell a story past the sequels, it'll be like one of those situations where how Vader was lurking in The Force Awakens when they brought the sequel trilogy back. Like, even though Vader was good now, or he was gone now, Kylo was still talking to him, communicating with him. I feel like if we ever get a story past the sequel trilogy, somehow Palpatine will play into that story. Not physically there like he was in the sequels, but just like a plot device, really, of like, here's this guy that used to be out there. We're trying not to do that again. And it's really simple for me. He was just there from start to finish. Right. So Emperor Palpatine was my number one. So I'm going to pass it over to Nolan. Your number one, please, sir.
Palpatine.
I thought so.
Pretty much everything you guys have said.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can say is, and it's already been said, but the reason why I picked him is because he was the villain throughout every Star Wars film.
Yeah.
And he was the main villain. Well, he might not have been the main villain, but he was the villain that was influencing who the main villain was every single time.
True.
Behind the scenes. So for me, if it wasn't for Palpatine, you wouldn't have any Star Wars at all. It was his master plan that sparked the whole thing.
Yep.
As far as everything.
Agreed.
So that's why he's kind of the main one.
Yeah.
Like, for me, he's centered around everybody on this list answered to Palpatine.
Very true.
Every one of them. Can you guys think of one that's not?
Maybe not Boba Fett, but
yeah, that's the
Boba
only,
Fett answered to Vader, who answered to.
Well, Boba Fett answered to Vader in that one mission. I don't know if we can necessarily conclude that was his main guy that he was always.
Oh yeah, no,
with.
like he did his own thing.
Django was the host clone, which was
Palpatine's plan. Yeah, that's a very interesting point. I didn't even think about something like that.
So every one of these villains, and really every villain,
exists because of
Palpatine.
That's very powerful.
So he is the puppet master.
No doubt.
That's why he's number one.
All right, I'm looking at these lists, and it looks like we got 4 that are automatics, basically. Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, Darth Maul, and Palpatine.
Shocker.
So we got 4 people there, but we have an issue here. I think Tarkin and Grievous, because we had 2 people share them at 5, are going to tie. So that means...
And Fett. Fett has 2 points.
Because one person had him, though. So
still got 2 points.
I still think... Okay, fine. That's fine. So for our, I guess, 5th and final position, we're about to have to debate Tarkin, Grievous, and Fett. It's looking like based off of the point systems. But let's go ahead and figure out the automatics at least. We got Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, Darth Maul, and Palpatine that we know for sure are going to be in our show's top 5. So while Nolan is figuring out those numbers and how we're going to order those, I just want to go ahead and quickly say this. Make sure that you are following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mando Talk on all 3 of those. We're pretty active on both Facebook and Twitter. I know Twitter, I try to tweet a bunch. I try to communicate and have fun with just a bunch of random things. Facebook, you'll always see our new posts and our new episodes. Instagram, not using it as much, but it's just another tool out there for you to check out. So make sure you're following us there. Subscribe to us on YouTube. And we are about to... Did you have something to say, B.A.?
To your point, I don't know if we have a set in stone for our next top 5, but I think it would be cool to, put it out as a poll on Twitter or Facebook and get some feedback on what they would like to see us.
That's a good idea.
Rank. So
okay.
I'm sure we can come up with a few.
This is our 3rd top 5.
Right.
So let us know what you want the 4th one to be. We'll throw a poll out probably next, Tuesday?
Yeah. something like that. Now, I'm already thinking about possibly the 2 options.
Okay.
I'm thinking it might be a good idea for us. This could be one of the options. Since we've done heroes and villains, what if we combined it and just did top characters? That's kind of basically the same thread, though. Or we go all out and we talk about the top 5 lightsaber battles in all of Star Wars.
Gosh, I'm gonna need some study time on that one.
I know. Currently, those are the 2 that I'm thinking for that poll. But stay tuned on that. I like that idea, BA. So we're gonna go ahead
We
and roll
could
with that.
do movies.
We could do that.
Including Solo and
All
Rogue
movies.
One.
Yeah.
Excluding The Last Jedi.
Get out of here. Check us out
Number
on
1.
social medias at Mando Talk if you want to participate in that poll. Let's figure out our top 5 villains now that I've given Nolan some time to do some math.
Number 1 coming in at 17 points.
Sidious.
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
Wow.
Right on.
It hurt. What really hurt that one was because Palpatine was not in Jacob's list.
True.
So we have to keep that in mind.
That's true. Coming in at number 2 with 14 points, Palpatine.
Okay.
And coming in the number 3 spot with 13 points, Darth Maul.
Yes.
And number 4 with 11 points, Ben Kenobi.
What?
Just kidding. Ben Solo.
Okay, hold on. First of all,
Wrong Ben.
Ben Solo is the hero.
He's not really a
Kylo
hero.
Ren's the
He didn't even
villain.
make my top 5.
Number 4 is Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
All right, so
Supreme leader Kylo Ren.
do we have a 3-way tie at number 5 then?
We have a 3-way tie at number 5 with Grand Moff Tarkin, Boba Fett, and General Grievous.
All right.
I'll start the debate. Okay.
Ooh.
So
do we
this
want
is
to do a
hard.
debate or do we just want to?
Yeah, I mean,
you
let's-
get one name and then whichever name pops up the most is number 5.
That's so hard.
The what?
All 3 of them are good. All 3 of them are really.
Well,
Really
see,
good.
here's the thing. 2 of us put Grievous. 2 of
Yes.
us put Tarkin.
Right. I
He
think
put Boba.
Boba should be out because only one person had him. And,
Boba's out.
and
Get out of here.
well,
because it gives us an opportunity here where 2 of us can team up against the other 2.
Well,
Unless
So-
Jacob has pushback with us throwing his number 4 out.
I mean, I'm the only one that chose him, so
Yeah.
he was in my
Let's
honorable
duke it out.
mentions.
he was in
All
my
right.
honorable mentions.
So we're gonna duke it out Tarkin versus Grievous style.
Yeah. So 4 lightsabers versus none.
I was about to say, yeah, just on lightsabers, who has more?
Okay.
I don't think that
Okay.
lightsabers determines villainous. First
Okay.
of all, Grievous
Right.
was a laughing stock for everything.
Because
that
he had
he's in.
asthma, dude.
He had pneumonia.
He did the
also
best he
because he
could.
made bad
Pneumonia.
jokes.
And like Nolan pointed out in his argument that he always runs away.
Yeah,
That's a classic villain move.
What villain in this list runs away?
none except
General
for him.
Grievous.
Yeah, only him.
Tarkin is my pick. I stand by it.
All right, I think we can agree that we should just substitute all these for Jar Jar, right? We all-
Darth Jar Jar.
We
He
all-
belong in the top 5.
I can't put Grievous over Tarkin.
I can't
I
either.
just can't.
Tarkin is just so
And-
much more serious and imposing,
Very much so.
and resolute.
And he was an integral part in creating the Death Star.
Right, and General Grievous has 4 lightsabers. Well,
And he gets
Grand Moff Tarkin has an entire millions of lightsabers contained inside a moon.
and Grievous literally loses his 4 lightsabers in 2 seconds. He
Yeah.
just spins them. I can spin
Yeah.
lightsabers and get them cut off in 2 seconds.
do it.
I'm not doing it with all
Let's
this.
see it.
We'll do it after the
Hang
show.
on. Let's make it interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit stuff here.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I about just broke a screen.
All right.
All right, now let's see you hold 4 of those.
Yeah. That was pretty
I
difficult,
still
right?
stand by the fact that Tarkin is a better villain than Grievous.
Right.
Villain, cold-blooded, isn't pushed over whatsoever.
We'll go.
is not made fun of. Literally, the entire Jedi Council makes fun of Grievous. Nobody makes
When I
fun
get
of
ready to
Tarkin.
make when I get allowed to make my argument,
I was
then
about to say one act that they did. We'll go host versus host for deciding.
Host versus
You're-
host.
You're Tarkin.
Hold up, he's got to be here every week to be in that category.
shots fired.
But yeah, closing arguments on why it should be
I just
yours.
gave mine.
Okay. See, he won't even give one. He doesn't even know. Well, I think we figured it out. No one's at a loss for words.
I mean, I don't know how to argue it. So
All right, so Sidious was.
if you look at the movies,
How many people is number one? He was 2 people is number one. All right, so think about, how much did Sidious trust General Grievous to get things done? Not very much.
Nil.
Yeah. How much did he trust Grand Moff Tarkin to get things done?
A lot.
Yes, a very lot.
A very lot.
Just write that down then. Seems like our argument has been exploded, BA.
Yep.
Okay. Are we good with it?
I guess. Do I have a choice? It feels like the Empire.
I'm up for a debate. Or a
Doesn't seem
rebuttal.
like it.
A rebuttal.
Well, before you guys threw Boba Fett, I was gonna say I could switch my vote to him, but you guys threw him out so quick. So we'll just go with Tarkin. I can sleep with that.
I'm good with either.
I guess it's Tarkin.
Okay, that's fine. All right, Mando Talks top 5. Number 5, Grand Moff Tarkin. Number 4, Kylo Ren. Number 3, Darth Maul. Number 2, Palpatine or Darth Sidious. And our number 1 villain is Darth Vader. Let us know what you think of the list. Let us know what you think about Tarkin versus Grievous. And let us know of the 4 of us here who had the best one.
Surely wasn't me.
And
It was mine.
check us out on social media so you can vote on the poll if we decide to do the top 5 series next week. Again, who knows, we might get some big news piece that comes out, so we might have to delay top 5, but we will, if there's no big news, we will hold off on we will do the top 5 series next week if there is no big news. BA, thank you for being here. Thank
I
you
would
for
like
your
to say
insight.
this.
What?
I just looked at the lists over again. Go back and read yours.
My what?
Your list.
Grand Moff Tarkin, Kylo Ren, Darth Vader, Darth Maul, and Emperor. No, that's yours. Grand Moff Tarkin, Kylo Ren, Darth Maul, Darth Vader, Emperor Palpatine.
Go back and read the shows.
The top two are
The top 2
switched.
are switched.
Vader won.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, buddy. All right, BA, Jacob, thanks for being here.
This was probably one of the most fun top 5 that I've had.
Yeah.
A lot of it was because of look
You
at how
won.
old you've become.
Nothing will beat you pushing me and Nolan over, though, about Darksaber.
No.
Yeah.
This beats that, I think.
Good grief. All right, thanks for being here, guys. Nolan, thank you as always. Go ahead and send us out of here.
We have spoken.